So there's a phase in your life when you have to paddle things yourself. Paddling things yourself means that you're probably taking motivation from somewhere else, taking inspiration from somewhere else. There's a phase when you do that you actually need help. So the engine needs help, like with the paddling thing, to get started. Then there comes a phase, and this is the phase that goes for the long run. That keeps the bike running for kilometers and miles, and that is the phase of your internal motivation.
Hello, guys, welcome to another episode of Fashion Tales. I am Paras Chabra, the host for the show. In this podcast, I interview some of the most successful people in diverse fields who can share their story and help you to discover and pursue your passion and purpose. If you are looking for the answers to the questions like how to find my passion, how to have a fulfilling career, or how do I follow the path of my passion, then this is definitely going to help you. Today's episode is for every other person who think they got into a career which doesn't feel right for them. I'm interviewing Aman Kumar, an entrepreneur and a marketeer. He's the founder of Winner Media, which is helping a lot of businesses and brands to build their online presence. He initially started his journey by pursuing CA and clearing it, along with having lived a corporate journey of 3 years. His journey in corporate made him realize that he didn't want to continue on the same path. Let's listen to his story of transition from living his CA career to doing something of his own. So, hi Aman, how are you?
Hi, Paras. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm also doing great. So, I want to start with that. How was your school life and what were your major childhood influences?
Okay, so in my school life, I was pretty much a studious sort of a student, like up till eighth class, and I wasn't really good at studies because I was actually forced by my parents to do stuff. But post eighth standard, I sort of took independence, and that was the time when I actually excelled at my studies as well. So in my 11th and 12th standard, like those were the best days of my college of my school life. I had a really fun time with my friends, and I excelled in studies as well. So it was sort of an all-rounding years for me. While growing up, particularly like after 10th class, I wanted to be a singer. So
Okay.
yeah, I was pretty much influenced by Atif Aslam at that point of time. I used to sit in class in my class with a friend of mine, and we both used to just jam up and sing songs. So that was the time when a lot of things was just dreamy, like a dreamy world.
Yeah.
So that was pretty much the influence I had in my school life.
Okay. And then you took you took commerce and you went for a CA. So what was behind that?
Okay, so back in 11th standard, there was a totally new set of environment, totally new friends, new people coming up, and I actually made a group of four people. Those like we four friends, we are still there, and that has been the longest friendship I've had with anyone. So one of those guys, he was pretty much sorted in 11th class only. He had filled his CPT form, and he just came to school one day telling that he has this long term plan where he'll get into CPT. Then the next step will be IPCC. He'll be clearing his finals. He'll be a chartered accountant. His dad was also a chartered accountant. He's a dear friend of mine, and I was pretty much influenced at that point of time. Yeah, that this guy has a plan, and I don't really have a plan. What I should do is just and the plan sounds really cool. So just let's completely get into this plan. So it was in 11th class that I decided to go for CA. I've always believed in this particular thing to never reinvent the wheel. But at that point of time, it didn't make much sense. But I was really influenced that yeah, this guy has a plan. Let's just follow this plan because it was
Oh,
sounding really cool for me. So that is how everything started. Yeah, I had already decided that if I get into SRCC, I'll be doing like so SRCC is one of the best colleges from Delhi University. So I just thought that if I get into SRCC, I'll be doing my chartered accountancy alongside that. Otherwise, I'll just go for a correspondence degree and full focus. I'll be putting into chartered accountancy. So that was the point that I got influenced, and that is what actually happened after 12th class. However, I didn't get into SRCC, but I did manage
Okay.
to get a good score and get into a good college in Delhi University, and
Okay.
then I started my CA journey as well.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, that's awesome. And how was your CA journey for you?
The CA journey was pretty great. Like, if I talk about the first 3 years, I was really very much interested into accountancy, and
Hmm.
I got really good, people whom I can look up to at that point of time. So the initial couple of years were really great. The exams were definitely not that great when it comes to preparation because it takes a lot of effort. But yeah, by the time I was in my second year of college, I had completed the
Hmm.
two stages, CACPT and the IPCC. So both of these stages I had completed in my first attempts. So everything was going pretty fine, pretty good there. After I completed my college, I had to go for this articleship that we have to do a mandatory thing as a part of the CA curriculum. So
Yeah.
it's a 3 year thing. So I gave the first interview of my life, and I got selected in
Hmm.
a Big Four professional services firm. So it was an MNC in Gurgaon. I was pretty much, you know, flabbergasted when I went for the interview, and I just thought, yeah, this is the dream life. Okay, so another moment of let's just do this thing. So that was the time, I guess, when the corporate life started after my college.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. So, and how was your experience of your corporate life?
It was pretty good. When it started. So I've always been that guy who was um, measured things materialistically a lot. Like
Okay.
when I was in my college at that point of time. So when
Hmm.
I came to the corporate life, obviously the environment was really good. You get to see such fancy offices, such fancy cabins, and all those flashy things. But
Hmm.
so I remember the first day when I joined my articleship, I went to the basement of that building to just see like how much the partners are earning, like what cars do they have, so that I can figure out if this is the path I should follow or not. So
Okay.
clearly that was a childish thing I did back then. But the beginning first year was good. I actually interacted with a lot of people. The second and the third year were the deciding years for me because
Hmm.
that was the time that I put in real work there. I got a lot to learn about office politics, facing clients, things like that. So that was a pretty great experience as well. But those couple of years, the second and third year of my articleship, uh,
Hmm.
probably helped me get an idea of prepare a negative list for me, that the things that I don't want to do in life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the journey was really good. I had a really good time. I made really good friends in my corporate life. I
Hmm.
even had really good managers to work with. So I don't have much to complain from the corporate life, but the entire structure of a corporate life was something that I think wasn't matching the kind of life I want to lead.
Like, can you quickly tell like what was some few things of the list that you remember from your negative list?
Okay, so even when I joined my articleship, I had this thing in mind that I want to do probably a year or two, like 2 years of articleship here, and either I'll shift to some other place, or else once I become a CA, I had this thing in mind that I want to open my own professional services chartered accountancy firm. And
Okay.
so I used to say this thing to a couple of friends of mine that today we all hear that it's a big four because there are these four big companies: EY, Deloitte, PwC, and KPMG. but 15 years down the line, it will be big five, and mine will be in the big four roads. So I used to say that thing because I always had this thing to start something of my own.
Hmm.
But in these 3 years of articleship, I realized two things. First thing, again, I never believe in reinventing the wheel. So what I did was there were a lot of senior people, partners, directors, people at the higher level, at the top level,
Hmm.
the kind of work that they were doing, the kind of life that they were living. So I just clearly imagined that if I stay here, it's definitely a good environment to work in. But this is something that will lead me like to that place, to where all these people are. And so
Like, what was exactly that thing
like
you didn't want to?
like a lot of things. So probably the thought process that they work with, or I didn't like the thought process first. Secondly, I didn't like the kind of work life balance that those people had.
Okay.
So those were the two main things that I could pick up from there. And but I still had this thing that it's fine. I'll just move out from here, become a chartered accountant, and start something of my own. But
Okay.
then chartered accountancy also comes with a lot of restrictions, that you can't do certain things, you can't do certain things. So that was something that was putting me off towards the end of my chartered accountancy and towards the end of my corporate career. So that
Okay.
was that was one thing, because I had this thing in mind that I want to experiment a lot. I want to try new things, and I am in the same state of mind right now as well, that I want to experiment
Okay.
a lot of things and try new things going forward, because I guess that gives me a kick. Doing
Okay.
things, experimenting thing, doing new stuff, things like that. So that is when I decided that since I've invested almost 5 years in this particular
Hmm.
career, I won't leave it like this. I'll just get
Yeah.
a degree, so that it's sort of a backup plan, or a satisfaction for my parents as well. And then probably we can think what we need to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, now can you describe like what was that moment, that period when you just finished your CA and now you have to tell your parents, and like you have to take that path?
Okay. So I'll just tell you, when I left the job, when I left the organization, at that point of time, I still had my CA final attempt due. I had given
Okay.
one attempt. I had passed one group, but I flunked at the other group, so I had to reappear for the exams. It was at that
Hmm.
point of time I just gave a hint to my parents that after I complete my accountancy, I want to do something of my own. And they were also like, ठीक है, हाँ, we'll see, देख लेंगे, because at that point of time the main thing was to clear those exams.
Hmm.
So one day I was sitting and I was just searching for ideas, like what can be done, what problems can be solved in the market, what we can explore. So I went up to a friend of mine. He was also in the similar phase, and we just sat down and we thought and worked upon an idea. Worked for a couple of months on that idea. Then our exams
Hmm.
came. We gave the exams, flunked again. Then
Hmm.
couple of months worked again on that particular idea. But since we flunked, so we have to again study for our CA final exams, because that was something that we really wanted to clear and just set aside.
Okay.
So that was the attempt. After which, like, so it was November 2018. Yeah, when I appeared for those exams. And after that, from November 2018 only, we were working on an idea of our own. So I had already given a heads up to my parents that this is the idea that I'm working on. And so we were three people working on that particular idea. On the day our result came, uh, like those couple of friends of mine, they flunked the exam. So, but I cleared the exam, but I wasn't really
Okay.
happy, because everything was in a mess. That now what will happen? Will we be
Yeah.
working on that idea? On the other hand, my parents were really happy. They were telling relatives that yeah, हमारा लड़का CA बन गया, and I wasn't really happy. That was the day I remember I cried. on the day I passed my CA final exams. So that was a different feeling. But uh, like I told my parents probably a week after that I don't want to continue in this chartered accountancy field. I won't go for a job. I'll just try to look out for like something of my own. The idea that I'm working on, I'll work on the same. So definitely, it was a difficult task for them. I had that conversation that Farhan had with his parents in Three Idiots. The same conversation. We actually had that conversation numerous number of times. The same conversation. The
Hmm.
only difference was that my father didn't get convinced in the first go. So yeah, conversations like these happen often. Now, like now, it's very like blessed. Like probably now 3 or 4 months in a line, 3 or 4 times in a like in 6 months, that conversation happens with my father. So he just wants to
Okay.
keep a check that ठीक कर रहा है ना, is everything going right? उस तरफ तो नहीं जाना है,
Okay.
like so basically yeah, what I think is our parents are just worried and they just care for us. They just want us to move into a direction where they think we are safe, or
Yeah.
they think we are doing something in our senses.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Hmm.
definitely that was a difficult thing to explain to my parents. My mom
Hmm.
got easily convinced because she had faith in me, and I guess our parents are just looking out for us to have faith in our own selves. So
Yeah.
I remember the day when I actually told my father that you don't need to worry about anything. I don't need to worry about anything. Whatever I'm working on, I'm having 100% faith that it will work. And even if it won't work, I have a backup option. So like मेरे पास कोई tension नहीं है. So the day he got convinced that I have faith in myself, I think he probably was relieved from a lot of thought that will I be actually able to do something or not. Yeah.
Okay.
So he
So
was.
like you
I think he was convinced from inside that particular day.
so like I think when other people, other kids are also doing like this and explaining the things to their parents, the more important thing is that you should have faith in yourself first
Yeah. Exactly.
rather than just going having that conversation with your parents.
Exactly. And I guess that is like not just for conversation with your parents. That is the most important thing, I guess. If you're doubtful about something, don't take a huge like big step. But if you're sure that this is something that you can give your 100% in, or probably this is something that you totally believe you can do, not caring about the result. But even if the
Hmm.
result isn't in your favor, you'll not regret that you didn't try it. If you have faith in yourself that yeah, you'll do it. It's not a shiny object syndrome that you're looking at someone else and just giving it a try. If it's
Hmm.
not that, then I guess the parents are also looking for something that you have your faith in yourself. That is the only thing I
Okay.
guess parents look for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And okay, so any challenges that you would like to share, some top of your head challenges that you encountered in your own journey, and like did you have some, like I think most people go through this, did you have some moments of self doubt as well?
Yeah, a lot of time. So when we had dropped that idea, and
Hmm.
so that was the time I had started doing social media marketing. I had started this agency of mine named Vina Media, uh, the agency that I'm currently working on. So I had
Hmm.
started working on that back then. Um, at that point of time, I was definitely having a lot of self doubt because that wasn't the sole business I wanted to work on. So I had this idea that on working that this like the startup I was working on with my friends. I when
Hmm.
I when I left my CA, I just had that this is the only one shot I have, and I just have to do this. I have no other options. At that point of time, I had this mindset. But when we had to drop that idea, that particular phase of figuring out what to do next, I had already started my social media agency, but I wasn't really sure that if this is something I want to make it big, or I want to experiment out new things, or how will it work, because the social media agency was sort of an accident for me. It didn't started it didn't start intentionally. It was something I
Okay.
realized I was getting good at. So I just started it. alongside the idea we were working. That yeah, let's do this as well. I'm good at it. So there were a lot of times when like I had a lot of anxiety issues, a lot of self doubt that would I be able to do things or not.
Hmm.
And one kick I had at the time of leaving my chartered accountancy career was I have always been a risk averse person. So I
Okay.
didn't really like taking risks. But when I left my chartered accountancy job, that this was the main fear I wanted to accomplish, overcome basically. That
Yeah.
I wanted to get rid of this fear of taking risk and starting new things.
Okay.
So I guess all the previous 2 years have been a time of a phase that has actually helped me get over this particular fear. And this is one fear I
Okay.
don't have right now.
Okay, that's awesome. And like, what do you think that many people I've heard is that they just go for, everybody just want to be do something of their own, but they just go for it and fail, and then uh, return back to their normal lives, their normal jobs, right, to their backup plans. But
Mhm.
what do you think kept you on this path during those times of distress? Like, was it your loved ones whom you talked to? Was it some podcast or something else you were people you were listening to? So
Hmm.
how did you deal with that time, the times of anxiety and pressure?
Okay, so I have I have uh, prepared some theories for myself that I always keep in mind, and those are the theories that work good for me. So when it comes to keeping myself motivated to do something, I've
Hmm.
always believed there are two sorts of motivations. One is the internal motivation, one is the external motivation. I'll just give an
Yeah.
example. So have you seen that moped that used to come back in 1990s, early 2000s, where you have to,
Luna.
no, not Luna, that I don't really remember the name. If you had seen that movie, Hello Brother, Salman Khan used to
Okay.
drive that. You have to paddle that for a bit, and once the engine gets heated up, then it works on a motor. It's a bike like
Okay.
that. That for the first, I guess, 2 minutes you have to paddle it, and that will automatically start with an engine. So that is something I relate the most with. So there's a phase in your life when you have to paddle things yourself. So paddling things yourself means that you're probably taking motivation from somewhere else, taking inspiration
Okay.
from somewhere else. There's a phase when you do that you actually need help. So the engine
Okay.
needs help, like with the paddling thing, to get started. Then there comes a phase, and this is the phase that goes for the long run, the that keeps the bike running for kilometers and miles, and that is the phase of your internal motivation. So at that point of time, I had a mix of both of these. I had this internal motivation because at that point of time I thought that there's no looking back. I had no option to go back and join my job. That was the fear. I didn't really wanted to go back to my job or something like that. So I had this fear that what if I fail? What if I fail? So that
Hmm.
kept me going. And on the other hand, I used to listen to, so the journey of doing something on your own is a lot. Uh, it's lonely. I'd say that.
Yeah.
So definitely you have friends around, but your friends can't be around you all the time because you're on a
Hmm.
different path. They have their own lives. They have their own journey. It's lonely. So I guess one needs to help their own self in that particular journey. So I used to listen to a lot of podcasts. One of my favorite podcasts till date has been by Gary Vaynerchuk. So that
Yeah.
is that is one person I guess who has made a huge impact in my life. So I guess I used to watch those videos that actually helped me a lot. Plus, so I also write poetries, stuff like that. So those
Okay.
poetry, that's the stuff I wrote that also used to self motivate me to do things. I used to write about those phases, those dark phases, and everything isn't going good, and I just used to write down things. So that
Hmm.
actually helped me a lot.
Okay. So like kind of journaling and poetry helped you.
Yeah, mainly poetry. Journaling, I like did mostly on the darkest days of my or the lowest days of my journey. So I did journaling. Yeah, that
Okay.
also helped. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's amazing. Okay, like also, like you were from a CA background, and you might not have any experience in digital marketing or stuff like that. So,
Mhm.
how did you build your credibility in the start for your business? Like, why? How did people start approaching you, and how did you basically kick off your business in that domain?
Okay, got it. That's a really good question. So I still believe that one of the best skills that I currently have is that I am good at observing people and consulting people, both these things.
Okay.
So at that point of time, I was observing a lot about what is being put out on social media, like what people are doing. I was really I still am really good at observing things. So what I did was I observed things. I observed a little bit of strategies that people used to do, like people mostly in the US, a few of them in
Hmm.
India as well. So I just got a hang of the strategies. I applied a few of those strategies in a couple of probably a couple of social media handles. I understood the algorithm, how the algorithm works, and then I understood the entire psychology of person on a social media platform. So
Okay.
back then, what I did was I went to a food joint near my place, and I went to that person. So that person knows me because we've been eating at that particular food joint for like more than 3-4 years. Like at that point of time, and now it has been, I guess, yeah, 6-7 years. We're going there. So that person knew me, and I just went up to him, and he had no social media presence. I just went up to him, and I just told him that I'll help build a social media presence for him. I didn't charge anything from him, because
Okay.
that was my first experience of serving someone else, with the strategies I've learned, with the algorithm I've got the hang of. So I worked for a month or a couple of months with that person. Post that, so I got a few results, and I so that was sort of a proof of concept for me that this thing can work. This is the way you can help people, and this is the way you can serve and charge from people. So
Okay.
post that I till now all the business that we get is all inbound business. We don't really market our agency. We don't really reach out to people as of now.
Okay.
That's good. So all the business that we get is totally inbound, because there are a lot of people around us, like the network we built in the past 7-8 years, 10 years. There are a lot of people who are starting something of their own, and they need help with going digitally. Probably getting more sales with the help of social media, or probably building a good presence, or building a brand, something like that. So all of the business that even now comes, that it totally comes inbound, and it totally comes on trust.
Okay. From, you mean from word of mouth?
Yeah, from word of mouth. It started with
Okay.
friends. It started with friends, acquaintances, and then word of mouth of them. Like
Okay. So
if they're happy with the work that you do, they'll be happy to recommend you.
okay. So you think like one good way to go is to just do something, serve people for free first, and get approval from them that if this is something that people will pay for, and it will also make your own belief as well
So
in
that
your own
so,
business.
so that is one way of doing a proof of concept. Since I wasn't really confident about the services I could provide, so I chose
Hmm.
this particular way of doing a proof of concept. But if you think that your idea is good to go and you can do something, there's no harm in charging as well. You can charge less. You can even charge high. There's no harm in doing that stuff. But this is the way I did for myself.
Okay. So to make that belief stronger for you in your own
Yeah,
business,
yeah.
in
Because
your own services.
because I knew about the services. I knew that I can help that person grow on social media. But then actually it all boils down to serving people. So whenever
Hmm.
you serve people, so he's also a customer. He's a client. He's a client of yours. Probably he's not paying you anything, but he will still have expectations. So, I just want to get a hang of, like, will I be able to meet those expectations? How much time will it be taking for me? what all new strategies I can come up with, stuff like that. So that was sort of a proof of concept for me.
Okay, okay, that's great. Now I want to come to a little bit of your work part. Like,
Hmm.
what do you think is your daily gratifications like? What do you enjoy the most about your work right now?
Um, yeah, I really like serving people. I so so there's a time in the month when you bill your clients.
Hmm.
I'm usually always late at billing the clients. Sometimes it's a delay of a week or 2 weeks by my side only. Uh, like when I bill them. But the thing that keeps me going is when they get results. When I see that they're actually getting results, they're actually able to grow on social media, and I am actually able to solve a problem for them. So that is something that keeps me going. And
Okay,
apart from this, uh, daily there are new challenges. Daily there's something new that you have to take care of, something that you aren't really prepared. So working on those things, sort of firefighting things. So those are the things that keeps me going, I guess.
okay. Like, also, like, do you think that this was from the start, or this is what developed in you as a process? Like, I'm sure earlier you must be little impatient about the results yourself, and the motivations might have been different. So I want to know is this something you discover later that you are enjoying?
Yeah, I discovered it later only. When I was starting out, I wasn't really impatient, because I had this thing in mind that things will take time. I had already prepared my mind for that. That things will take time. I'll keep that patience with me. But yeah, I guess having that mindset and actually doing it is a total different thing. So probably it just got better along the process.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. That's amazing. So, and what is the most exciting thing about marketing that you love?
Yeah, I guess like from the consumer standpoint, it's understanding the psychology of people, how people think. So I'll just give you an example. So if you're selling a
Hmm.
product or probably a service, and you put something out in a way keeping in mind how will people perceive this, how will people understand this, what is the first point of attention that a consumer will get, like from this particular thing, a product or a service, or probably an announcement or something like that. So that psychology actually is the best thing that uh, drives me. So this is something, like, going forward, I see myself as a consultant.
Okay,
I'm really good at consulting people, and I'm really good at observing things. So I guess, yeah, observing consumer behavior, and that is marketing all about for me.
okay.
Hmm.
And you were actually very self-aware about this thing, that you were very observant about it. So, like, if someone else wants to test waters in this, like if they want to know that is marketing for them, how
Hmm.
would you advise them to go for it?
Okay, so if someone is a newbie and someone does not know a thing about marketing, I
Hmm.
would highly recommend them to go and work with someone who knows about marketing. That is the
Okay,
best way to get through. And
okay,
this is the way that I now I think that is really valid. So there are a lot of people that work in our organization, a lot of interns that come in with just this
hmm.
state of mind that they want to know and learn things around social media marketing and stuff like that, and they don't really have any knowledge. So
Hmm.
at this point of time, I feel that they get a lot of value in the daily work that they do, the daily tasks that we give to them, or the trainings that we give to them. So the best thing is to work with someone who knows it better than you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like, how does one validate it, that is it for them or not?
How does one?
Validate it, that is it something that they like, or is it something that they actually can excel in it? How does one get that validation?
Yeah, I guess sometimes it's a feeling of fulfillment. when you feel fulfilled
Okay.
in your work, when you feel that the thing you're doing, uh, you're feeling happy doing that, and you think that you can create a career out of this, or probably monetize that particular thing. I guess that is the time one should decide. So I believe that
Okay.
probably even if you have a hobby, even if you have something that you think you love the most, just keep doing that and figure out a way to monetize that. You can definitely build a career around anything.
Okay. Okay. So it's an intersection of what you love and what can be paid for.
Yeah, 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 definitely, definitely.
Okay, cool. So, like, talking about reflecting.
Hmm.
So now you have come a long way. Like, so what advice would you give to your younger self when you were 18 from the learnings you have had along this journey?
Yeah, I would just so I don't have any of the regrets for the things that I've done, because I believe that I I don't really believe in regrets. So I guess we are all a product of what all we've done and what all things we've not done. There have always been
Okay.
two roads, so definitely there has been a road that we didn't take, and this is the road that I guess took us here. So I guess
Yeah.
I didn't want to. I won't change anything in that context. But when it comes to giving advice, I would just tell myself to be uh, more. So I would just like to tell that I need to believe more in myself, and
Hmm.
I just need to respect myself a lot. Those are the two three things.
Okay.
So if I'm 18 years old, I am probably in the first year of my college. Yeah, probably, yeah. Self-respect and self-belief. These are the two things I would advise myself.
What do you mean by this? Like, you need to respect yourself. Like, can you tell me where is it coming from?
Yeah, sure, sure. So a lot of times it happens is when you're a kid and you're low on confidence. What you tend to do
Hmm.
is you tend to undermine yourself a lot. And when you undermine yourself a lot in every conversation you have with anyone, be it a new person, be it a friend, be it a colleague, anyone, you always keep yourself below them. Like
Okay.
not in terms of the way you're communicating, but mentally. So
Okay.
you put yourself down. I've been in that situation, and I guess I did wrong, like things that I shouldn't have mentally,
Okay.
just undermining myself. So probably, yeah, respecting myself for who I am, for the things that I do. That is something I would recommend myself.
Okay. Cool. I think that's amazing. Like, basically, don't beat yourself down to it, so that nobody actually became successful by beating themselves down. Right.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So
Okay.
don't be too hard on yourself.
Okay.
I'd say that.
I think that's an amazing conversation. Like, I had. I mean, thank you for being on the show. Like, it was very like, after a long time I had this conversation. It was just flowing through, and you had some amazing answers that I think can help anybody who's on a similar path, who is discovering to what they want to do in their lives.
Well, thank you so much, Paras, for inviting me. I guess it's a pleasure for mine to be on the show and to share all of these things on a platform. Again, it's going out on a digital platform. So yeah, I'm really honored to be on the show.
And like, quickly, can you talk, if you want to share something about Winner Media, and if you want to share about where people can reach you out,
Okay,
that
so
would be great.
yeah, so if you want to reach me out, you can hit me up on Instagram, Explore with Aman. That is the username. And what we currently do is we run a social media. I run a social media agency by the name of Winner Media, where we help businesses and people to build their brands. For people, we help people build their personal brands on the internet. So we help them with all the online solutions, be it marketing stuff, selling stuff, getting more leads, getting more visibility, stuff like that. We're entering into talent management as well. So we're entering into new spaces, new platforms. So that is pretty much what we do. If you have any query for that, if you need to talk anything around business, you can mail me up at hello@vinamedia.in. That is how you can reach out to me.
Okay, that's amazing. I'll also add the links in the description
Sure,
for
I'll do
people
that.
to reach out. That's it for this episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one and it added value in some way to your life. If you want to reach out to Aman or Winner Media, you can find links in the description and just follow them everywhere to stay tuned on the updates. And yes, don't forget to follow Passion Tales as well. The Instagram handle is passion_tales, PASSION_TALES. Thanks a lot and see you in the next episode.